Hey, good evening, and welcome to another session from the Wise Asylum. Oh, I can't believe it's a week has gone. I think I might be getting dementia. It's what a weekend now, man. It's just crazy. I thought it was Sunday yesterday, all day yesterday, to the point I had my shirt on ready to do my live stream at 8:30. It's a good job I rung Paul there on the old PY music, because if I hadn't rung him up, I had done my live stream last night, because that's a fantastic album. So I think I might be getting dementia or something like that. Maybe it's folk I'm hanging around with, I don't know, but is it catching? Does it catch? So anyway, it actually worked quite well, because I thought to myself, some of these image sessions that I've got going on, it's a bit long and it's just a bit bland. I thought, well, why don't we get some background music going on some of these? I thought, alright then, all the bash of that. So I thought, well, I'll look through some of my old stuff, and I just thought, no, it's old, it's crap, it's rubbish, I don't like it. One of them were acceptable, so I've slapped that on one of them. So we're going to do a bit of an experiment tonight, so when we do it later, if you can let me know whether it's too loud, not loud enough, shit, crap, get off and boo, whatever you want, just let me know in chat so that I know, because obviously I just want to test things out. So anyway, it come to it and I thought to myself, well, now I know it's not Sunday and I don't have to do my live stream now, I've now got 24 hours to play with. So I thought, well, let's write some new tunage. I thought, we'll write some backgrounds. We'll see if we can come up with a background for some of these images that are a bit fitting. Anyway, lo and behold, I got cracking, which is a bit, I shouldn't really do it, and I got excited, and I ended up with two tunes. One that was supposed to be a background is certainly not going to be a background, I can assure you it is going to be a tune. But I've left it up, and that's the second one that I'll put up later on. Obviously, you're going to have to wait, because it's later. But let me go with it. But like I said, I want a bit of your input here, and just tell me whether I've got it on too late. So I just want to see what kind of settings I have to do for that kind of gig, because I think I can enhance some of these little these image packs that I've got going on anyway. So there we go. So dementia's on. I think I might be getting it. It's alright though. I mean, I suppose I can laugh through all this madness that's about to, well, they're trying. So then I think they're scared shitless, because things are certainly not doing or going as well as they thought. Interesting, somebody sent me just before I came on, maybe a couple of hours, I had a chat with him, and he said you must watch the first minute of one video, and then you need to watch from here on another video. He said, I think that's it. And I have to say, I did that, I watched them, and I'd say, that is it. This is what they're doing with the AI. It's what they're doing with the Noahide, etc. So we'll have a little quick look at that, because usually I'll think about something to chinwag about beforehand, and I did have a topic, but things have just changed in these last few days. I might leave that topic for the next one, because it's delicate. You've got to be careful, because it involves people's, you know, solid maps. So you've got to be extra careful how you deal with that kind of subject matter. So rather than rush through it or try and rush through it tonight, I think what I'll do is I'll leave that for next week. And we'll crack on with all this glorious stuff that we've got going on anyway. So a short preamble. You might be happy about it, you know. Get a bit of colour in with some images, and I'll say, who's here? It's Cos says 1973 and the gig's on. Well, thank you, Cos. House of CC says enjoy the show and it, thumbs up. Enjoy the show and it. Would that be me? See, I am is. I is. You don't want to be I am, you want to be I is. Because you is, aren't you? You're not the it, you're the is. You just is. Anyway. So I am definitely accept the is. Solvamist says hello. Hello, Solvamist. New Pit says hello, here we are again. Happy as can be. Jolly good. That's got to be good. Paul says, good evening, Sean and everyone. Good evening to you, Paul. Slipknot. Alright, Sean and everyone. Alright, Trev. PY Music says, good evening all. Sunday, I believe, bro. He. Have you do the happy clappy session or something? Is that what you're hinting at? I know you live around a lot of them. Oh, they're starting to get in there, and you're gonna, you know, in happy clappy sessions up there in your attic, are you? Public Knowledge says methylene blue. You keep going on about that, don't you? It's supposed to be pretty good. I've seen bits and bats of it, so it does have some good reports, but I'd have to give it a full reaction before I had a look properly and decided to mention it or talk about it. Jonathan Williams, do you think space is real? I don't think anything is as it has been described for perhaps the last 400-500 years, or since the Jesuits became the educators of the entire globe. So no, I don't believe it at all. The heliocentric model does appear to be, or rather the science that holds it up is complete garbage. That is an absolute fact. So space out there, no, I don't think anything's as far away as they even pretend. I don't believe for a second that the sun is 93 million miles away, because it's the same size as the moon in the sky. You know, that's mathematics. You know, like we did a session on that before, how they use mathematics to confound math, and thus confound the logical mind. So no, everything out there, as far as I'm concerned, is contrary to the way science tells us it is, and that we're only just starting to understand that adventure. Because of course we're all the light on the ground for all these years, well, since we've had electricity at least. You can't see it out there, you're disconnected from it. You know, you go to, you know, these people that are out in the sticks, or people that are in the deserts. I mean, the sky is part of their existence, whereas we've lost complete touch with that. So no, I don't accept that it's in any way as it is perceived and presented through accepted science. Solomon says, okay, how are you doing, Solomon? Mew says, the space between my ears is real. Real. So if anybody wants a brain transplant, get Mew's, because it's never been used. Is that right, matey? I used to say that to me mate when we were growing up. He used to cry his eyes out. And then I'd say, your mum and dad found you in a dustbin, and then he'd go and cry his eyes out. Quite funny, but yeah. I used to say, I'll have your brain if I need a transplant, because you've never used it yet. PY says he's talking to Mew. 3 space. But LCC says, what Israel? What Israel? Isis Raw L. Big E. Greetings, people. Big E, how are you, me old China? Good to chat earlier. Treen says, hi, Sean and all. Hello, Treen. Cause I don't think you're getting dementia. I think you just forgot what day it was. Happens to me all the time. Yeah, because Friday, I thought it was Saturday. So all through Friday night, I were operating as though it was Saturday. So I cracked on getting this live stream together, and then spent all day Saturday, to the point that I got it done by afternoon. But carried on, did everything I did and normally do. I got my cake ready for me sugar rush after, because of course it's quite draining doing these sometimes. So I've got my cake, and then as I said, I found out it was Saturday, so shirt came off, and I thought, ooh, got time to play out. And I got the old music software, or the bit that works. I've blown it all up, actually. It blew up. My speakers blew up, my monitors, and then my system blew to pieces too. But I do have a makeshift one, which is pretty decent. I mean, it's good quality stuff. It just doesn't have all the gadgets and all the plugins that the other one does. But anyway, never mind that. But I played, and I played until about 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to force myself to go to bed, to tell myself off and say, get to bed now. I'm grounded, so did. And then got up in the morning, I cracked on again. And I had a jolly good time. And I mean a jolly good time. And 2 tracks that I've got started, ready. They're brilliant, I think. The potential anyway. So you might like that after. It's quite groovy. I'm quite impressed with it. It took 5 hours effort on it. Obviously production's it's acceptable, so I won't put it up, but it's if you've got the ear Don't be pulling it apart because it needs a lot of play on it before I can say it's any good. Anyway, that's me bigging myself up for the evening. Lex says evening. Good evening to you, Lex. House of CC, well noticed, shown, but simply a type error. It, the thumbs up, or okay, the it. Well, that's fine. It's not a problem. I do answer to anything. Debbie says 69 is a better year than 73, hands down, and true to form. Deborah's been noted. She's had a couple of the old grapevine there. Hello, Deborah. How are you? Nice to see you. And Cos says, sure it is, Debbie. You've got somebody in agreement with you there, Deborah. Right. Let's crack on to business because we do have quite a lot of stuff. So when are we going to hear your new tunes? Later. Because I've attached it to a file of images, which are very interesting, by the way. It's a very interesting data. I can pull it off without cocking it up. So where do I here we go. Interesting data. I didn't know this, but in 1994, 7 major tobacco operators testified under oath that nicotine does not cause addiction. It's caused by sugar. And here's a picture that I found of this is Adolf Hitler, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. They'd gone to visit old Adolfo. So these tobacco company are basically saying that they put sugar all over tobacco and that's what's making it addictive. And that was in 1994. Interesting. Could be. And there we have Adolfo having a jolly time with Hillary and Bill. And Hillary and Bill don't look that younger. So I just thought that were interesting. You know what I mean? Now, it's Israel intelligence pact with Australia's death knell for the Five Eyes Alliance. So this is basically what this guy brought to my attention, Big E, tonight, about the AI. What were he called? That Australian guy, O'Connell, Brendan O'Connell. I don't know what's happened to him, but he doesn't seem to be on air anywhere. He was pointing out that they've backdoored everything in the West through nicking all our tech, and then they've done the deals with Russia and China to give all those backdoors accessibility from there. Now, that's the game. Australia appear to be in with this new Chinese gig. Jacinda Ardern also has signed in now with this bunch. So whatever she's going to end up doing, it's going to be a continuation of what she's been doing, which is basically to demolish completely New Zealand. But she seems to be operating against Australia from what I can see. As I say, I've only watched a few minutes of this stuff, which is what I was told to do. But it does give you the picture. So you've got that picture there. This deal that's going on with Israel and China and Australia isn't good. And this data here is what this guy on this video I'm about to pull up will read. But he does add a little bit more data than he's got on these that I screenshot. So it's probably better that we actually go to this fella and have a look, because it's only a minute or so, but.
And that's why you don't let companies that have offices outside the United States have access to something as critical as the operating systems on the F-35s and the F-22s and the B-2 bombers and probably the satellite systems and every other piece of electronic military equipment the U.S. is relying on to protect itself.
Now, he's talking about videos he's just shown where the simulation is all wars now carried out through this computer system, and that because of this backdoor system that we know has been put in all our chips here, running our infrastructures, our militaries, our banking systems, etc., now in the hands, well, it's always been in the hands of one particular group, but now been shared with this Eastern bunch, was showing a war game where, let's say, the US had sent their boys to this particular place because it were all showing up as nothing there, only to get there and there were like 40 fighters there waiting for them. So that's the ability that they're going to have with these backdoors to actually basically tell us a lie through our own computer systems militarily. So that's what he's discussing on the back of those videos, just with that little bit.
These companies like Green Hill Software are privately owned companies, which is fine, but they should be limited to having offices in the United States and not having their R&D and development offices in foreign countries, which opens them up to foreign infiltration. And the Israelis are trying to play both sides of the fence when it comes to intelligence, while remaining a part of the Five Eyes Alliance, literally being one of the major players in that, which gives them access to U.S. intelligence. They are also teaming up with new partners to establish new intelligence ties. Much as Henry Kissinger described shifting to the east, the Israeli intelligence services have shifted their alliances to the east as well. Quote, he said that Israel already has extensive ties with Five-Eyed nations, including what he dubbed as an incredibly close intelligence sharing and security partnership with our closest ally, the United States. But he added that Israel would look to deepen the relationships. We're focusing on continuing to deepen these ties through their existing frameworks and agreements. We would consider any other options for expanding these ties should they present themselves, he said. These statements, if anything, are an obvious signal from Israel that is ready to enhance these capacities in cooperation with Australia and later with other countries in the Indo-Pacific as well. After the AUKUS agreement, this is a development that could put a final death knell into the Five Eyes Alliance, and it talks about how the Israelis are teaming up with Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand, even though she's come out in a very pro-CCP stance. So now that the Israelis have created their cyber kingdom with backdoor access into everything and having been the core coding design team on all of this hardware and operating systems, they have countries like China implementing these devices to run their society. China uses AI, artificial intelligence, to run courts, supreme justices, cutting judges' typical workload by more than a third and saving 1 billion work hours. That's right, China's court system is now run by artificial intelligence that is basically core-coded and designed in Israel. If you wanted your no-hide courts, here they are. The Chinese are implementing them themselves. And what does our horrific smart city world look like?
Did you get that? Right? So AI is going to be running everything, so there is the no-hide system. Now, this is the second one, and again we need to watch a little bit to get the gist, but this is what this new system, this is how it's going to look.
Do you know that there's about to be a floating AI platform in the ocean with over 10,000 NVIDIA GPUs that can be considered a sovereign nation?
Meet the Blue Sea Frontier Compute Cluster, a concept proposed by a company named AR Corp. The goal is a massive floating computer that can sit in international waters, move anywhere in the world, and will be used to deploy the next generation of large-scale AI models, free from government regulation. The call comes from the Biden administration's recent AI executive order and the EU's AI Act, aimed at centralizing AI control under the guise of safety. The compute cluster will be equipped with over 10,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs per platform, cooled by using deep-sea currents and powered by both solar and steam and gas turbines. The complex will come equipped with its own nation-state military force, as well as defenses such as electronic jamming equipment, optical and thermal camouflage, and aerial surveillance.
What in the world are we to make of that? I mean, come on. So there's the AI system. That's what it's going to be used for. It's going to be controlling everything beneath a level of elites. So that means everything and everybody, all our systems and everything is going to be controlled by this, and they're offshore. They're under no laws. Yeah, is that clever? But then, of course, we're dealing with the Lord of the Sea, aren't we? The Holy See. That's what we're dealing with here. I mean, and you know, a big part of what we'll do tonight is look at, we're all well aware of a lot of the American elites. We're very well aware of the elites in this nation, are we not? Okay, there's a lot that hide down in the background, but basically, a lot of them are lords. Their names are known. We have a good idea, basically, how our elites are and who they are and what they do. But we never really get a good glimpse at what's actually going on at the other side, where the real power is, over the other side of the channel. And that's what we'll have a look at tonight, because, these people, they are what we could call... In 1993, I was told that what it was that I were going to be working to understand was a system that were being put together by what was then called the big houses. So that's your super elite houses. It's their game, it's their gig, they're the ones that are pulling this together. So I knew that it was the big houses that were pulling this together way back in 1993. But I had to then learn and understand why that was so. So these are just people. They're people like you and me, although they've had a completely different experience. They were born into this power, they've been trained into this power. But ultimately, they're still people. And we're not going to, they're not going to turn around and go, oh, we're a bit scared here, we're not going to do it. That's not how these people work. We need to start to think, look, come on guys, is this really what you want? Really? You're going to claim yourself divine? And you're going to set this up for nothing other than your control? It's like, it's just ridiculous that it's just people. Albeit, the wealth, the old money, passed down. You're still dealing with people in this time now. Surely, some of them, we did that power one, didn't we, a couple of years ago, where this character claiming to be of the ruling bloodlines very clearly said, not seeing any of these ruling families now with blood and people in them operating according to how it's supposed to be. So something's gone wrong, and it's not just gone wrong down here, it's gone wrong up there as well. Would it not be better if we all started to create a movement as the people, as I've said? That's where the rights are. And say, come on guys, stop. Because at the moment, every time we move further forward, the apocalypse reveals more and more of what they're actually up to. It's a natural aversion, isn't it? From us as we find out, but from them as they see us finding out. So fear's going to run and rule that gig, innit? The whole gig is just about fear, basically. And as revelations come forward that they can't stop, because it's part of the apocalypse, they come back with more. That's where we need to be looking. It's how do we get rid of that? How do we get rid of that natural energy that's burning up from both sides, to fear, to anger, to pretty much destruction of a time, if we think about it, when we've got so much, we can travel all over the world, you can get in a box on a street and off you go can go wherever you want. We forget just how lucky we are in what we've got in this time now, and I think people are so self-obsessed. They're not even seeing that, hang on a minute, if you look back 200 years ago to how the world lived then and how we live now, we are so ungrateful. We are so blinded by nonsense and stupidity that we can't actually see that we need to put some effort into how do we deal with this gig. But it's that middle ground, that fear that's building as we get revelation, they see us, and it's just woo. That's dangerous, isn't it? You can't really expect to come up with a good strategy or a good idea of compromise, because I don't believe anybody out there really begrudges these people having so much wealth. That's their lives. It's like we don't tick, do it? We don't tick the same. And I don't think people actually, if you get down to the nitty-gritty, begrudge people having that much power. What we don't like is the fact that you want more, and then you're going to you're misusing what you've had with consent. That everything you had was consensual in effect, because nobody gave a shit. yeah, it's that middle. We need to consider that middle ground is the bit that's going to be the problem, because that's where all the hatred, the anger, the pain, the no stuff is going to go on. Right down to where it is now down on Blighty. You've got 3 religions claiming to be born of one particular tradition, the biblical tradition, but clearly you've got 2 at the moment ganging up on one. Because the one that they're ganging up on is no more as far as a religion, because the religion went up its ass. The people saw it, said, we don't want any of that, thank you very much. We really don't give a shit about the imperial or empire side of anything. That's the generation's gone. But there's 2 there saying basically, baying for power on our land. And it's like, well, neither of you are in anywhere near in accordance with the gospel. Everything that you purport is contrary to the gospel and the man that we know brought it. So you can call him Jesus if you want, you can call him whatever you want. A man said this is the crack. So if you accept that, you can't accept the other, because it's a complete opposition. So we as a people, again, we need to say it, we recognise, okay, we've got rid of our religion because it's gone up its arse. We know it. We're not interested in why we're and whose fault it is. It's just that's what happened. We said thank you, we're not interested. But we're still a people. We're still a people. We still have our culturalities within us. We've just got wrapped up in all sorts of nonsense because we were too busy playing out, not focused on what were important. So we need to start analysing who are these 2 geezers here that are dying the best to get us to pick one side or another and back it. Because the question would be for us as people, are either of them worth any of our salt? So that was the subject matter we were going to discuss tonight, but obviously I don't want to make a mess of it, so we'll leave that till next week. But food for thought. We, in the West, we need to go, well, okay, there's two big bodies of belief systems in our mix, and they're trying to get us to join one of them. Do we have to join one of them? Or any of them worthy of our efforts? So that's the question I'd ask to ponder, because we'll look at that next week. Devil's advocate. As I've said, we're not on this timeline unless you choose to be so, because it's 2 groups doing battle. It's up to us whether we choose to do that battle, or whether we remember that we are already a people, we're already a culture, we haven't actually invaded anybody else's country. I mean, and that's an important point that gets lost in all these games. Americans haven't invaded let's put our militaries aside, because our militaries are controlled by the same force controlling these 2 groups that are busy trying to get us to join one of them. But Americans as a people haven't moved into any other nation and said, right, we're having this and this is how we're going to have it. The English don't do, okay, some of the baby boomers did in Spain, they moved there and thought they owned the place, but that's baby boomers, isn't it? We can't count them out, they're nearly gone now anyway. But that's not all of them. Some of them are smart and still all the old school English fair play geezer. But if you do that, then you're not your classic baby boomer. You can't be. Baby boomers are pretty out there. But, this is the kind of gig we need to look at. And as I've said earlier, what we need to work out and look at especially is because as we get revelations, anger, they see it, anger, they've got all the toys, not a good idea. The people, we have to say, come on guys. Let's just have a level playing field here. Why can't you be happy and content with what you've got? And let's crack on as we used to be, and let's invent even better things together before this Eastern bunch come in and wipe floor with the lot. Well, of course, the real top elite, they don't care because they control that as well. But not everybody in these elite families, are playing into this game in full knowledge. The Committee of 300 only has one designate from each family. One. So there's only one of each family that needs to actually know the full gig. His underlings, of course, will know to a point, but they're not going to know the whole gig. So we're going to have to start looking at thinking, well, let's talk. Let's communicate. Do we really need to do this? Because it's just fucking stupid. But as we'll look in a bit, we get an insight into why and what is actually going on through Prince Philip. And we've looked at him before, but we will look at him again because it pulls us into the next bit of data. Now, okay, so we've got a bit of trouble going on. As we've just presented with Australia there, They're tying into China. But then you've got this going on as well, which sort of suggests, well, it suggests of itself what we already know, that these elites are controlling all the nations. This idea of the left-right split and all that is just because it's embedded. It doesn't really exist, only in our maps. But these are bankruptcy papers, and the first one is Westpac Banking Corporation is the debtor, and then it gives its address in Sydney, 60 Martin Place. This was, New South Wales is the state. And then additional debtors is Westpac Banking Corporation, the New York branch. And that's 575 Fifth Avenue, New York. Now, the secured party here in this debt is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Yeah, 33 Liberty Street, New York. Now, at the bottom, I don't know whether you can see it or not. I don't know why that won't go up, but there's more to be seen on this, and I'll have to read it to you because you can't. It's not coming up on the image. So it says, attachment A. Hang on, if I do this, you can see attachment A there. I'm going to read it to you. Right. So it says debtor, Westpac Banking Corporation, secured party, Federal Reserve Bank of New York, collateral description. So it's looking at what it has. All loans and other extensions of credit, whether an instrument, a promissory note, a payment intangible, general intangible, accounts, or a participating interest in a loan, and all chattel paper, including electronic chattel paper, now owned or hereafter acquired, that are identified from time to time by the debtor to secured party in writing or by electronic means as collateral securing the obligations of debtor to secured party under a written agreement between the parties and all proceeds thereof, and all collateral guarantees, letters of credit and surety bonds pertaining to the foregoing and all proceeds thereof. So that's basically explaining that the Federal Reserve own absolutely everything that Westpac Banking Corporation and Westpac Banking Corporation New York branch have as collateral. The next one. Now this is National Australia Bank Limited, 200 Park Avenue, New York. That one. So National Australia Bank Limited. So they're both addressed in New York, and the second debtor to it is National Australia Bank Limited, New York branch. So same gig going on as the other one. And the secured party, again, is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, 33 Liberty Street, and it has the same attachment A. And now we have Australia New Zealand Banking Group Limited, 1177 Avenue of the Americas, 6th floor, New York. And the second address again is 33 Liberty Street, New York, for the secured party, which again is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So, okay, you've got the data about the AI, and they say, oh, it's all China's fault, and Israel, right? Yet. And so we're meant to think, oh, Australia's running off China. But look, who owns everything that Australia owns? Uncle Sam. Yeah? So you can see, it's just it's an utter load of shit and garbage that we have to believe that there is a split in this world, West and East. Shipton said that the yellow race are creating it. I don't think that were the Chinese. They took over after the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. And we never got to see it because, of course, we were busy fighting a First World War, a Second World War, and then the Iron Curtain prevented us from seeing behind Oz. So we couldn't see it. A letter to the new Justice Secretary, Dominic Raab, the challenge of restoring justice system is now yours. This was in September 2021. But it just gives you an idea to what powers these people have. It says, so this is from Baroness Eleanor Kennedy, QC, as this guy took it up in 21. Congratulations on your appointment, Lord Chancellor. We as lawyers know that this role once was and should be today one of the greatest offices of state, guardian of the rule of law, protector of our unwritten constitution. Now, unwritten constitution, our unwritten constitution, okay, we have a written constitution, so they're not speaking about England, right? They're talking about the UK, and it's unwritten because there isn't one. But that's the covenant that I've been blabbing on about, yeah, that they're in. So it looks good, but then when you look at what it's really saying, it's terrible, okay? But the media put it out because they know you're not seeing it. Champion of civil liberties and human rights, moving from the Foreign Office is not a demotion as some would like to characterise it, so long as you reinstate the Lord Chancellor in their rightful place in the Cabinet, reminding colleagues when they overstep the mark. There is an ugly rumour that you have been given this role as the hard nut who will get rid of the Human Rights Act and take us out of the European Convention on Human Rights, cobbling together some homegrown protections. With your high-level training on international human rights, I sincerely hope that this is not true, but one of those alarmist conspiracy theories. There is a tough agenda awaiting you in the Justice Department. A huge backlog of criminal cases, almost 60,000, will take some imaginative restoration of funding to a justice system which is in place of collapse. Why not scrap the prison building project and divert the money to where it rightfully belongs in sustaining what was once a world-class court system? Nearly half of adults in Britain believe that justice does not always prevail over injustice. Recovering public trust will involve serious policy adjustments. Women and those from ethnic and minority groups are particularly unhappy with how the system is currently functioning. This could be your moment. You were a keen Brexiteer and the transition period ended more than 8 months ago, yet there are vital issues yet to be solved concerning the free flow of personal data between the UK and the EU member states. I hope you will take steps in your department to ensure that the UK's data protection framework remains aligned with that of the EU. I'm also concerned that there is to be some movement on the Lugano Convention so that there can be a reciprocity and recognition of judgments in family court cases, in particular regard to the custody and maintenance of children. There's a growing concern about the creep in the use of advanced technologies in criminal justice. Whoa, what have we just looked at? AI. Recent legislation, for example, has extended the use of polygraphs for lie detection, which they just don't work, which are known not to consistently work. Well, they can't work because people get excited just at the fact that they're in front of people. There's actually been something in America just recently done by these experts of all experts and showed that the current use of all methods of scientific evidence that's presented in courts is garbage. All of it, every single bit, including bite marks, blood splatter. The only sure thing that this group of absolute experts in America say is solid is DNA. Everything else is garbage. And how many people have been put away on scientific specialist evidence? It's bullshit. It's just a complete and utter game. And last but not least, we're currently facing an earthquake of what has happened in Afghanistan. Can you ensure within your conversation with the Home Secretary, high on that agenda is the protection of the lives of female judges, prosecutors, lawyers and journalists. Around 200 female judges and thousands more female and male lawyers and prosecutors still in the country. They work to defend the rule of law and human rights to uphold government aims. Now they have a target on their backs. So this is people coming over from Afghanistan, which I've discussed many times, that we're working with the occupation forces over there. What people know as, what do they call them? Collaborators. So they're basically saying they've got a target on their backs because we've got so many immigrants here. One of the roles of the Lord Chancellor is speaking truth to power. That means holding the Home Secretary in check. You do law, she does order. They have to be kept in balance. There is a lot to do to restore confidence in the justice system. We are relying on you, Baroness Eleanor Kennedy. And that were in 2021 as RAB took it over. Look at where we are now, 2023, with if there were 60,000 backlogs then, can you imagine how many there are today? Now, investigating as we have the fact that 1649 there's been no royal kingly office, this. I'll put these up obviously after, so you can think. I picked these up again today. Somebody sent me. We have quite a couple of people out there that do some serious investigation on our behalf and your behalf, and brings this stuff together. So this is the Statutes of the Realms, Volume 5, 1628 to 80. And of course we're seeking for these acts, are we not, that obfuscated the fact that the feudal tithe had been cancelled by Cromwell, and we were all people, and we had Parliament as our means to represent our will in the nation state. So these are a bunch of interesting datas that people might want to look at. So Charles I there, yeah, 1640, 1660, Charles II. So I'll put that up under after for you to, it's a great link. We have the Act for abolishing the Kingly Office, 1649. Act for abolishing the Kingly Office, we've got that. That's up. I'll put that up again underneath so people can look at this and we can see if we can come up with the strategy that we need as people in order to put this thing back together again. Which is very interesting. It says it, and it's therefore further enacted and declared, notwithstanding anything contained in this act, no person or persons of what condition and quality soever within the Commonwealth of England and Ireland, Dominion of Wales and Islands of Guernsey and Jersey and the town of Berwick upon Tweed, I don't know why that's a separate one, shall be discharged from the obedience and subjection which he and they owe to the government of this nation, as it is now declared. But all and every of them shall in all things render and perform the same as of right is due unto the supreme authority hereby declared to reside in this and the successive representatives of the people of this nation, and in them only. So the aristocracy have took it over. They're the only ones that are claiming to be the people. Yeah, and by some magic they've created this other covenant that gives them command over everything, equity. But of course, as we looked at last week, they've reinvented the office of king, put Charles II on, because the barony are the ones that have been the problem. And each time somebody, Henry VIII, Cromwell, do something decent, they lap it up as soon as they're dead by killing or manipulating who comes in next, because they're mere puppets to this barony. The Angevins. The Angevin gang. Linked in with the Prussians. So this is what's the back end of it all. Blenheim Palace. Very important place, especially before it was Blenheim Palace. And then you go back to Henry II, Eleanor of Aquitaine, who I've mentioned before. When I studied them two, it's pretty simple. Them two were insane, especially Eleanor of Aquitaine. That woman was demented, and certainly didn't represent here. She represented the interests of the Angevins over there in Normandy and Aquitaine. And maybe this is why there was so much trouble between her and Henry. Maybe Henry wasn't doing the bidding. I don't know. We're looking into it. You've got Rosamund there. There were some interesting going on there as well. And this is going on, it would appear, under what is Blenheim Palace. And the architects that we looked at before, where the Duke himself tried to sue, or Sir Churchill tried to sue, so this is back in Queen Anne rather, tried to sue these archaeologists for uprooting this stuff that they were trying to hide. So it looks like what were there before was something to do with Rosamund and Henry II, as the place where they lived, they met, they were. So they're hiding that. There's something even more important, I think, that did go on in relation to this barony taking over way back in the distant past, Henry II, Eleanor of Aquitaine. But again, that remains to be seen. We're just touching on that stuff. And here we have March 1649, Acts for the Abolition of the Kingly Office in England, Ireland, the dominions thereunto belonging. And again, data you might want to get in there if we can start looking together to pull together a method by which we can act as the people. Because it's certainly been undermined and it's been being undermined for quite a long time. And again, an act for the abolition of the King, the office of England, Ireland, the dominions thereunto belonging. Again, I'll put that up underneath. But those links, I think, is where we might come up with something pretty good. Anyway, so that's that data. Anybody got what you're saying, you guys? Well, notice show me something. 69 is better years. Yep. So when are we going to hear new to? Oh yeah. Methylene blue improves memory, focus, motivation, gives energy. Better known for diet on blue jeans. So yeah, I still haven't managed to have a look at it, public notice, but I have seen it coming. At least if it comes up anywhere now, I'm aware and I give it a little look. But I've not really given it a full investigation as to whether I'd try it or not. Cos says, so that's where all the 4090 graphics cards went to. Ah, you might be right. LL, Stephen and Sean, Old Mean, a good evening to you, L. Debbie says, Rabsy Nesbitt would have been a better bet. Now, have you actually seen the breakdown of the Rabsy Nesbitt shows? From an occult and high-end language breakdown. I remember years ago finding this. They were a paper somebody had written and breaking down Rabsy Nesbitt, and then I found a video of the same, so you could get to see the images. You wouldn't believe how high-end that show is, and that Rabsy Nesbitt is probably a real smart guy, and that's a total act that he's playing that character. But I was quite shocked because it was so high-end, it was unbelievable. The whole thing is just so symbolic in everything they do. And it's full of allegory. I wish I'd kept it. I might have kept it on an old hard drive somewhere, but that were interesting. So that's speaking of Rabsy Nesbitt. Where are we now? Let's have a look at this because it's important in relation to some of the stuff we're going to look at. Just gaslighting, what is it? You've all heard about it, and it is actually being used, I've noticed, in some narratives today. So let's have a look at what it actually means. It says gaslighting may involve the denial by an abuser that previous abuse incidents ever occurred. Now, prime example right now would be Dublin. Yeah, we were supposed to forget that event happened because it were all focused on the victim by the abuser. Yeah? Or it could be the staging of strange events intended to disorientate the target. Right? Dublin again. The effect of gaslighting is to arouse such an extreme sense of anxiety and confusion in the target that the person reaches the point where they no longer trust their own judgment. The techniques are similar to those used in brainwashing, interrogation, and torture. The instruments of psychological warfare. A person exposed to it for long enough loses the sense of self. They find themselves doubting their own memory, they become depressed and withdrawn and totally dependent on the abuser for their sense of reality. The targeted person may even believe that they are going crazy. Yep, I've experienced that in the past. The bug script was that. This new timeline that they're throwing on you now is that. Because there's back to these two groups that are baying for war. The second one now is using the same tactics as the first one. And they are trying to prep it in Ireland. They're doing it in Australia. Of Islamophobia. So they're trying to cover the tracks by not allowing you to speak about what's happening, which means trying to shove them in the system. Into our civil system, these immigrants and these program guys. Now you're going to start to understand why the free schools was a bad idea. It's now a done deal, and we're now they're picking up people that have gone through these free schools as puppets in this game. So I did a lot of shouting about the free schools, about what it's about, why you shouldn't be taking them on, why we shouldn't be allowing them. But this, that you're seeing now, these girls with this thing around their head, they're supposed to be smart, but they're actually not. These are the people that have come up through these free schools. So now we're starting to see what that meant. And this is the gig that they're playing up. So be aware of it. It's very important that we don't let them get away with it. So the ritual, what's going on in the ritual? Bristol University axes the national anthem for graduation ceremonies amid students claim it's old-fashioned and offensive to some. So it's not going down right well for the national anthem there unless he wants to change it. Breaking, Prince Harry loses legal challenge in libel claim against Mail on Sunday. The lad's not having a very good do at the moment. But as we'll look at later, this guy's a player. He's in there. The Princess of Wales will host a carol service at Westminster Abbey on Christmas Eve dedicated to the carers of babies and young children. There we go again, obsessed with everybody's babies. Exclusive, Kate is People's Princess in the US with 44% approval. Makes sense when you consider the power of Americans at Blenheim. Exclusive, move over Meghan. Kate is the People's Princess, America's royal sweetheart, and there they have a graph to cement it. Everybody loves Kate. King Charles refusing to let Prince Harry's emotional blackmail over children. From what I know about these guys, they really don't give much toss about children, so I can't see there ever being any instance of blackmail ever, because they don't really care. I don't know. UK politics. Look, they're trying to get rid of Christmas. So Blackburn. No, that's not Blackburn. Yeah, Blackburn Christmas Launch Festival axed amid funding issues. Yeah, this year in Accrington, I've noticed they've done a lot more, which is good. Daily Mail, England's oldest Christmas market scrapped as Labour Scrooges say it's too popular and would cause a safety risks. Oh, safety and health. Now, health and safety, can we see? Cameron defends ECHR and insists UK will remain under European courts law. Who the fuck is this guy telling us what's what? Claire Coutinho hands $30 million to US mini nuke project rivaling Rolls-Royce. Let's get rid of our industry. A mass official statement said we demand all the world's forces to end the occupation of our land and Al-Quds. We are ready to pay the price for freedom, will not accept anything less than our independence. Against Britain. The Islamic Resistance Movement, Hamas, condemns Britain's intention to participate with its army in the genocidal war against our Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. Well, I don't think people knew they are, but now we know they are. British pilots flying over Iraq and Syria are spying on Iranian-backed militias, believed to be smuggling weapons across borders to Hezbollah and Hamas. So there you go. We're in. Would you vote for Nigel Farage in the general election? Well, he's been in celebrity. They bigged him up, made him look like another new hero. And they'll have him back in Tories. So vote Nigel. They're getting him ready to put him into a new role. Back in the Tories. So there, that's the gig that's gone on through all that. And Sunak gets quite aggressive when asked about his wife's investments because Infosys Services Limited is incorporated in Rwanda. UK voters want closer relationship with the EU as a significant shift since Brexit. 61% want closer trade cooperation. None of us didn't want that. We just wanted out of these rules that were giving them these immigrants. Out of the COVID inquiry is spending $750k a day on lawyers, and no one will be held accountable. So you're paying 750 grand a day. And anti-Semitism is being normalised in British life. So the flag, according to the wizards, equals anti-Semitism. And back to Christmas we go. World news. Worse than Pornhub, the OnlyFans New Mexico Attorney General files massive lawsuit against Mark Zuckerberg after undercover operation involving minors. Disney they've been advertising Disney, which has been advertising child traffickers and sellers and sales of kids. Biden administration openly threatening Americans over Ukraine. In a classified briefing in the House yesterday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin informed members that if they don't appropriate more money for Zelensky, we'll send your uncles, cousins and sons to fight Russia, pay the oligarchs or we'll kill your kids. And Elon Musk asked, did he really say that? Short report, Chinese Pearl Harbor style attack may end America's days as a superpower. According to a top expert, China believes that to successfully invade Taiwan, it must strike America with a sudden intense attack akin to the Pearl Harbor assault. The military is struggling to recruit amid an apparent disconnect with the younger generation, but it's a complex picture. Exclusive, Americans don't want to fight for their country anymore. Is it their country they don't want to fight for, or is it because they now see that their soldiers are being used for everybody else's country? Israel PM Netanyahu is due to face a resumption of his long-running trial on numerous corruption charges after a pause due to the war in Gaza. Yeah, so that's, yeah, he's just trying to avoid getting this corruption charge. He's getting as much done as he can. US House passes resolution declaring anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism in a 3-11 to 14 vote. The US Congress declared the largest Hasidic Jewish community in the world to be anti-Semitic because they're not Zionists. Interesting. So they've now just declared Jewish people as anti-Semites. Now we've only got one on the hero script. There he is, the nut job from Argentina. He's trying to gather allies for the Falklands, and he's now gone to India, and he's trying to get some support from the Indians in order he can go in and take back the Falklands. Good luck with that, lad. There's oil everywhere around there. You might have a bit of a job, because I'm pretty sure Uncle Sam will come in again like he did last time and lend us everything we needed to fight the damn thing, because we didn't have a navy and we didn't have any ammunition. And climate, just a reminder again. So, in July this year, Antarctica plunged to minus 83, which Earth's lowest temperature since 2017. Record challenging cold sweeps Europe, South America and South Africa cool. We've got to cut down on farming due to climate change, or people are going to starve. So cut down on farming, or people are going to starve. How interesting is that? He's a fruit bat. 322 Skull and Bones, and of the Forbes family. Yeah, we've looked at that, haven't we? Reverend John Forbes, East Florida. Anna Bradstreet, Thomas Dudley, Massachusetts. Well, Massachusetts, that's the Puritan old stronghold. And this is interesting. It's International Court of Justice, UN basically giving, where are we with that? Basically giving themselves amnesty for everything they say and everything they do. Nothing can come back to them. Let me just go back to that. If I come off here and I'll go back to that, because you could probably do with seeing it, really, couldn't you? Let's be honest. At least you can pause it after. But they've basically given themselves full immunity. Well, you would, wouldn't you? If you were a psychotic maniac trying to get everybody to kill themselves, so you didn't have to kill them. Yeah, you'd do that kind of stuff, wouldn't you? Give yourself immunity first. Got to cut down on farming, he says. John Murray, Boston, Massachusetts. That's where the Puritan nut jobs, Salem and all that malarkey went down. Aberdeenshire, Scotland, he says. Cara, Cabot, Griswold. Less assaults the estates. So, here it says, by Section 18, the fiscal national shall be immune from legal process in respect of words spoken and written in all acts performed by them in the official capacity, be exempt from taxation and the salaries and emoluments paid to them. I mean, come on, guys. It's there. You know, they've given themselves full immunity from everything they do. It's quite bizarre. But then, it's not bizarre, is it? It's exactly what a psychopath is going to do. So that's that one. Only one thing on the Irish, and that is, this is what it's all about. The Deliveroo driver, who basically didn't do anything because it's looking like it didn't really happen in the way it said, has already collected 367,597 quid. It's amazing, isn't it? Set someone off an emotional cannon, boom! Maybe I'll have to start crying in front of it. Shall I start crying in front of here and see if anybody wants to... Anybody know what's going on with PayPal? Because I've tried to get into it and they're saying they want to have to do my card again. What's going on there? It's called Zoom or something, X-Room or something stupid. Is that normal, or am I being scammed? Because obviously I haven't done anything yet, because I weren't too sure. Now, I'd like to just flip over here, because I want to remind us of something. Because it's important and it follows through for everything that we're going to discuss. next. Now, I'm doing good for time without doing a preamble. That's pretty good. That's good, actually. So less preamble, perhaps, or gobbing off. No, I think it's quite good sometimes. When I listen back, it serves well. Right, so I need to flip over here, and I need to go. Where do I need to go? Well, before we do that, we'll just have a listen to this lady about what's actually going on. Now they've got you all on the universal creditor.
Plans to actually spy on the bank accounts of those receiving benefits, whether they're working poor or disabled or doing their best as a carer. It really is a new low in this government's constant vile behaviour. Never in our history has the government intruded on the privacy of anyone's bank account without a very good reason. And now we're treating all people on benefits as potential criminals. If MPs think this is a good idea, then why don't we ask them to go first? With all the cases of corruption, second jobs and undeclared incomes, would MPs be okay if the banks had the ability to raise red flags on their accounts? That does seem to make sense, doesn't it? Just test the system before we use it on other people. Look at the government plans to
I love that girl,
on
Jenny
the bank
Jones.
accounts of those receiving benefits,
Keep your
whether
ears
they're
out for her.
working
She's a
poor
good one.
or disabled or doing their best.
She's a good one. This is a reminder.
Biggest challenges in conservation?
Hang on.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because if where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
From where we are. And we're all well aware of the.
What do you see as the biggest challenges?
We know who they
in
are. We
conservation?
know who the Americans are. We know so many of them. I mean, there's always them that are written. But then if you go with John Coleman, he put up names that I'd never even come across, and still haven't come across to this day. So even that, we're looking at still could be looking at lower grade administrating families rather than ruling families. So interesting. Now this is interesting as well. You might have to listen carefully. It's not very.
Citizen. Some people said, he has a forged birth certificate. And maybe I'm not an American citizen. And some people said, he has a forged birth certificate. Well, first of all, it's true, I'm not American. Yeah, I was not born in Hawaii. I wasn't born in the United States of America. I come from Kenya. And so I think people saw my election as proof, as testimony that our society has continued to become more and more united.
I was not born in the United States, so clearly there now from his own mouth, everything he did has absolutely no standing in law in America. None. This is an interesting look at the situation.
Everything that Democrats are doing to white Americans, they tested on the black community first. They destroyed our economy with riots and fire. They destroyed our birth control rates with policy. They destroyed our monuments under the disguise of political correctness. They influenced our youth to embrace homosexuality through music. They influenced our youth to rebel through music. They refused to give us representation in Hollywood. They told us we weren't victims. They forced vaccines on us. And they called us conspiracy theorists when we said no. What's even worse, they changed our nationality through the Census Bureau more than 4 times. They assassinated our real leaders and left us with controlled opposition, such as Al Sharpton. They changed the color of our historical figures and ignored our outcry. They told the entire nation that we were a problem because we were black. Same thing they're doing with whites today. Yes, it's a cold, hard truth. The Democrats mastered the ability to control a race, and now they are doing the same thing to white Americans. This is where it truly gets worse. Every black is aware that this happened to us. Most of us will embrace the new propaganda, and white Americans will view it as ignorant and racist the same way we did to white Americans in the past. So when Netflix replaced every white actor with a black one, the black community will view it as finally being represented and not notice that every white person was taken out. White America will notice the replacement and will rightfully speak out, but black Americans will only see the outcry. They will think that white Americans don't want them to have anything. We are living in the most powerful psyop of all time. The only reason that history repeats is because they remove it.
Now that's dynamite stuff, that. That guy is right on the button. Right on the button there. What do you think, chaps? I'd say he is. Right on the button. Right, so going back to what we just witnessed with Prince Philip, that from Our. So who are these Our? Who are they? And World Wildlife Fund. First you've got to recognise that you are the wildlife. You are the cattle. The pedigree, some of you. But you're still cattle. And that's what they're talking about. World Wildlife Fund has got nothing to do with wildlife. It was everything to do with people. So that's what they're talking about. Can you guess? Well, we know now what. They don't have to guess because that was done before. We know exactly what it is that they're doing. So that's the elites. But, Prince Philip isn't the elites of the elites. They are a very high-level black nobility family for sure. But as we sort of looked at last week, these bloodlines that are actually come in and overturned everything, I would say not anything that we would accept to recognise as ours. So just another quick look again. Contrary to what you perceive, Schwab neither founded nor strategically directs the WEF. Some of those members are far higher than him in the globalist pecking order. Founded by Otto von Habsburg, Kissinger was tasked in advance to mentor Schwab. Destined as his puppet figurehead, the Habsburgs were behind Federal Europe, Pan-Europa 1923 and Le Cercle, the latter far higher and more hidden than the WEF in the hierarchy. WEF is originally known as the European Management Symposium and fully admits Klaus Schwab, with two important mentors, Henry Kissinger, his former professor at Harvard, and Edward Heath, Symposium Chair. What connects Habsburgs to Bauer, Rothschild, and indeed the likes of Cecil Saxe-Coburg, Astor, Huguenot, Rockefeller, Banco, and Morgan, and their senior agents such as Kissinger, Soros, Albright, Gates, etc., are ancient Roman aristocratic lineage. I wouldn't put Gates at that level. Gates is the front man. And there are orders of Malta, Templar, Garter, Rosy Cross, Jesuits, whose ultimate authorities are Massimo, Medici, Pallavicini, Farnese, Bourbon, Two Sicilies, Lancelotti, Borghese, Odescalchi, Torlonia, etc. The latter are the apex of a direct lineage from the ancient Roman dynasty, and the Massimo family name adorns the Fabian society, aka Quintus Fabius Maximus. You see, I've watched and studied stuff studied stuff that shows that the Roman families pretty much were dealing with the Huns, Attila. They were dealing with the North Africans at the time of the holy man in Petra, and also with who else? I've lost one. I forgot one. But pretty much everybody, these ancient Maximus or Fabius Maximus family kind of geezers. Where did I get to? The British Empire is simply a subset, remember, and strong arm of the Roman Empire, and hence the visible apex of the globalist structure coincides indeed with the head of the British establishment in the form of Privy, Rhodes, Milner and Fabian. US, China, Saudi, Russia, Israel, Iran are all examples of British colonies to this day. So he puts down Russia as a British colony. Well, yeah, because of course the Bolsheviks took it over. Who funded the Bolsheviks? Wall Street on behalf of London. And he was in who is and remains Emperor of the Romans, is also Emperor of the whole earth, says George Trapezuntius, a Greek philosopher to Mehmet the Conqueror 1466, after the conquest of Istanbul in 1453. The same age dynasty generated... Oh, that were it. Genghis Khan as well. So, yeah, all working for these Roman bloodlines. I saw and read a lot of data that suggests so. Also controlled by Maltese Rothschild, Rhodes-Milner Group, again itself far higher than the WEF, which is one of its many doctrinal and institutional great-grandchildren. Along with the political Vatican, the Crown Temple, DC Templars, Garter Rose Cross, Jesuit Order, these form the principal apparatuses by which the real heads who created and owned them run the show, and who aren't stupid enough to put themselves on display. In fact, chances are you wouldn't have seen or heard of them. The idea is people like us never find out who's in charge. So what the so-called elite fears most is the world's masses uniting and getting hold of the head of the snake. Schwab is only as good as his rectal Schwab. Everything he says is scripted for him, just as Karl Marx, Lenin, Mussolini, Hitler, etc. We're fully scripted puppets, hence also on full display. Well, Hitler were clearly a channeler. So you'd have to understand the occult to understand how that works, but that's what Hitler were doing. Right, so that's again another preamble to who are these our that Philip were talking about. Well, let's now look and come to understand that there were one ambassador for them that dealt with all our leaders, and that is this man. So there's a bit of tunage coming on as well. I don't know. This is an old tune. This is net thing. I just thought I want to test to see how it runs. So if it needs to be turned down or anything else, please let me know. Exactly. Rome never collapsed. It morphed and spread its tentacles. You damn right it did. Yeah, it never. The empire never, ever died. It just moved. It shifted. So I'll go with that, Gary. We absolutely, definitely agree on that. Ulick McGee. Hi, Jerry. Who's Jerry? Oh, Jerry. There you go. Sorry. Good man, Ulick. Okay. Ulick McGee. Pergamon. Well, now ain't that interesting? Because that were rebuilt in Germany, wasn't it? Before it all went tits up for them. But yeah, Pergamon is very interesting. Bit of data to know for sure. Maybe I'll have to look. Maybe we'll have to have a look at that because I don't think people realise exactly what's going on there. Hey, short scene. Oh well, that'll do. I don't really care. I've got a funny feeling we've got two characters on here. Keep your eyes on one. Now I can't hear that tune. Is it playing? Is there no tune playing? Oh, it doesn't hear them. It should be. How interesting. Oh, right. Ooh, it's shifted. Right, so we missed that tune. But never mind, we don't really need that to have a tune because I've gabbered on anyway. Right, so that doesn't work, so I'll have to do a bit of double checking on this one before we go. So that's just the ambassador for the hour, who this hour are. You know? People have to realise that. And that man has influenced every single world leader since, what, the 1950s, at least. You know, they're all mourning his death. I've seen them all. I didn't get a lot of them, but they've all mourned his death. Everybody said, what an extraordinary, fantastic guy. Because they're all operating or were under his administration. He were the ones that decide who comes in, where, when. And, yeah, then we have Nixon. Again, so much garbage said about him. Not that he were a good egg, but they're all his little people. Oh, it's tune's playing. Oh, alright then. Well, that's alright. I'll not do this onto the one though. I'm not going to talk over it to the one. But that's an old tune anyway. I just thought I'd put that up because it's playing fine. Oh, excellent. Super. It's not too loud then, Paul. Is it about right volume, that, would you say? Because I'm just learning, as I learn things in this Streamlabs, I thought, oh, we'll apply it, and then I can listen back and see what I think and work around it. But I'll definitely think it'd be a good idea to write some background noise for some of these quite big image files that I do put up, because they're good, they're interesting, and people can screenshot them. You've got images of these people. It's all in one place, and it's a good source that you can use. So that's back to the beginning on that one. Now these are what were left out, some of what were left out last week that I felt were interesting and I wanted to get across to you. Leaves a complex legacy with dark chapters for many people in the world, but he did a lot for his adopted native country, understood and convinced other world leaders that Germans after 1945 had learned their lesson and could be trusted. He never forgot his German roots. Now Lord Peter Carrington, who has joined Henry's new consulting firm, Kissinger Associates, Carrington has been in secret collaboration with Kissinger since 1968, when they jointly reorganised the Propaganda II Freemason Masonic Lodge, making it a coordinating centre. So that were Carrington, that's a good read, and this is Chatham House, an agent by training and experience. After Kissinger Chatham House Streets, where the Kissinger was a British agent, Lord Holmes said, surely instruction and experience, he finds himself on the same side as us, yes. Now, Dennis Healy, there you go again here. Interesting data. Again, Kissinger were controlling this guy. And Lord Peter Carrington, remember, controlled and handled Thatcher. So everything Thatcher did was in accordance with this, whomever these are. And then Lord Alec Douglas Home of Hearst, Foreign Secretary 1774, was revered by Kissinger as the rarest of statesmen and one of the wisest men I have known. Kissinger admits in his May 10th, 1982 Chatham House Confession. So Alec Douglas Hume was a very high-level guy, indeed. So that was some other things I wanted to just get across. Oh, I've done where? Oh, I don't need that one. So I've done it twice. Well, all right. And we don't need that. So that's all that. Sorry about that. Too many buttons to press on here now. It's getting a bit. Ooh. Right. So exactly, they all go back to the ancient Greek Roman Empire. So that if you really want to get in your mind what Kissinger was, he just represented that our Prince Philip were telling us all about there. And that the problem is too many of us. They've got all this stuff now. They've got all the tech. They've got it all. They don't need us working in the pits, the mines, etc. They've got the Africans, the Chinese and the Indians to do that. And then they don't even need that. Everything's a machine now. Oh, you look at these processing plants. It's all done by robot and machines. And there we have it. Now, what's that? Oh yeah, I've done that. So this next thing is interesting because I'll show you who these are. And it's accompanied by some of my art. So see what you reckon to this.
You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You You ready? You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, 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 got me running.
Still more families yet.
You ready? You ready? You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me. You ready? You ready? You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Hmm. And back to the beginning we go. People with power. People that just don't have enough. But it's no good shouting at them, is it? Calling them names. I ain't gonna do very much cop, is it? You know? But the people. Are we giving out all wrong signals? Make them go, fucking hell, back on the shit ourselves. Well, I think there's a lot to be said if you think about it in those terms. How many people do you know that would be capable of dealing with this situation at a point where, as we get more revelations, anger and hatred is rising, they see it, all that's getting bigger is this fear between the two. Not many people would be able to deal with that, would they? I can understand why there's war coming. It's just so many people that are completely and utterly up their ass. It's frightening. And en masse. Because they're all hive minds. And it's scary stuff. It's not good, but you know, there is an insight into faces. It makes them real. People. Now, you know, there's a lot to be said about what they're involved in, what they're up to. And this is I've mentioned Israel Zeus before, haven't I? I say I've not heard anything from him for quite a while. I do hope he's alright. But this is what he has to say about hip-hop. I mean, I've done a piece on hip-hop myself. It's on site, I'll put it up after here. But this guy was in the inside, and still, you know, this guy, he went way deeper than I'd ever gone, and other people that I've looked at had ever gone. So he has this to say about what he says is the Yiddish Mafia. He says, Rick Rubin is a record producer who works in the rap industry and helped to develop the Beastie Boys, a Jewish punk rap group. Rick Rubin also works closely with Jay-Z and Eminem. Rubin is a top member of the Jewish Mafia within the music industry, and they are involved in various criminal activities including infiltration, extortion, gang stalking and trafficking. Rick Rubin works under the House of Windsor. Right? Frederick J. Rubin, as he was born on the March the 10th, 1963, is an American record producer and former co-president of Columbia Records. Along with Russell Simmons, he is the co-founder of Def Jam Recordings and also established American Recordings. With the Beastie Boys, LL Cool J, Public Enemy, Ghetto Boys and Run DMC, Rubin helped popularise hip-hop music. So you go Def Jam and all this, and all you're seeing is black faces, innit? Well, they're just puppets. Eminem serves Prince William Windsor, and Eminem is an associate of the Yiddish Mafia. Now, he tells a lot more about Eminem, about what he does, what he takes part in, but I'm not going to talk about that because I don't have any evidence. Paul Rosenberg is a mobster and music record executive who works closely with rapper Eminem. So Eminem is not just with J. Rubin, he's also under Paul Rosenberg. And also with the Jewish Albanian Muslim rapper Action Bronson. Paul Rosenberg is an associate of the Cleveland crime family and an agent of the Orsini and Rosenberg noble families of Italy and Germany. The Orsini merged a branch with the German Rosenbergs. Paul Rosenberg is from Detroit, and the Detroit Mafia has a close alliance with the Cleveland crime family, which is owned by the Orsini family. The old boss of the Cleveland crime family, James Lacavall, was also a member of the Detroit Jewish Mafia called the Purple Gang. Paul D. Rosenberg, born August 1st, 1971, is an American music manager known for his association with hip-hop artist Eminem, the Knooks, DJ AM, Action Bronson, and pop-punk band Blink-182. On August 1st, 2017, he was appointed chairman and CEO of Def Jam Recordings. The Purple Gang, also known as the Sugar House Gang, was a criminal mob of bootleggers and hijackers with predominantly Jewish members. They operated in Detroit, Michigan during the 1920s and came to be Detroit's dominant criminal gang. But ultimately, excessive violence and infighting caused the gang to destroy itself in the 1930s. Daniel Allen Mammon, born October 25, 1977, professionally known as the Alchemist, or simply Alchemist, is an American record producer, disc jockey, and rapper. Alchemist is a rapper and producer who works as Eminem's official DJ. Alchemist is also working with the rapper Action Bronson, who is a top boss of the Halbanians, an Albanian crime group which is based in London and has operations in the United States. Alchemist is an high-level mafia boss who works with various African-American gangster rappers who are connected to street gangs, and Alchemist provides them with connections to drug networks, especially ecstasy. Alchemist is an agent of the Roman House of Orsini, which are owners of the Israeli mafia. Right, so the Orsini, he says, are the real owners of the Israeli mafia. Erevan Arslani, born December 2nd, 1983, better known by the stage name Action Bronson, is an American rapper, writer, chef and talk show host. Action Bronson, whose birth name is Arian Arslani, is an Albanian Jewish Muslim rapper and a covert boss of the Helbanians and Albanian Boys in the United States, and he works under Prince Harry. Okay, Prince Harry. Yeah? Where are we? Action Bronson is a militant tormentor. The Helbanians are headquarters in London and have factions in the United States, and Action Bronson is a top member. Action Bronson was named Arian. Action Bronson serves Prince Harry and also the Roman House of Chigi Albana della Rovere, which are the primary owners of the Albanian mafia, and they have 6 hexagrams on their papal coat of arms because they really have Babylonian ancestry. The hexagram is a symbol for the Z gang, because we're not allowed to say that anymore, I don't think. We get YouTube in any bother. The Albani family, which merged with the Chigis, were originally Albanian. William Bronstein, born 14th of July 1972, better known as Little Bill, is an American rapper and record producer from Brooklyn, New York. Little Bill is a Jewish gangster rapper from New York that is involved with organised crime, including weapons trafficking, drug trafficking, and gang stalking. He is a member of the Irish gangster rap group La Corca Nostra, with Irish rappers DJ Lethal, Danny Boy, and Slane. The Rothschilds are married with the Irish Guinness banking family. Little Bill works under the Rothschild family, which has been married with the Aldo Brandini family of Rome, with Baron David René de Rothschild, the husband of Princess Olympia Aldo Brandini. Little Bill and his brother Necro also work under the Z-Mob's Lauder family, which run the World Jewish Congress with Ronald Lauder and are worth over 20 billion. Little Bill is probably the most evil member of this group. His brother Ron is also a rapper and producer known as Necro. Ron Raphael Brunstein, born 7th June 1976, better known as his stage name Necro, is an American rapper from Brooklyn. Necro is a gangster rapper from New York and brother of Little Bill. They are members of the modern mafia in New York and are involved in criminal activities. The name Necro means death, and he works under the Roman house of Aldo Brandini. He is the owner of Psycho Plus Logical Records, founded in November 1999. He is the youngest brother of rapper Lil Bill. Necro was born in Brooklyn, New York, and grew up in the Glenwood houses, where he lived for 8 years, from about age 6 to age 14, when he moved to Canarsie. Born into a Jewish family, he is the son of Israeli expatriates with ancestry from Israel and Romania. Necro's father was a Romanian-born Israeli soldier, and his mother an Orthodox Baal Teshuvna. Lyle Cohen is an Israeli-American mobster that worked for the criminal bank Leumi, and as a powerful rap executive, he's worked with various gangster rappers, including Irv Gotti, who runs Murder Inc., and Wu-Tang, who had a song called Wu Gambinos, just as the Massimos are the primary owners of the Gambino and Gotti crime syndicate. The Cohen crime family was an intelligence Jewish mafia that operated in Los Angeles and worked under the authority of the New York Five families, which eventually ordered the execution of its boss, Bugsy Siegel, for not paying them enough tributes. Lyle Cohen's wife, Zin Lee, is the deputy chairman of Christie's Asia, just as Prince Tancredi works for Christie's. Now, they were up there in that bunch of images. There's all these people who were in there. His brother, Prince Valerio Massimo, has a residence in Los Angeles where the Cohen crime family are headquartered. Lyle Cohen is an Israeli mobster that works with the Gambino-controlled Los Angeles crime family and the Gavrieli crime family of Israel. The Massimos are married with the Gabrielli family of Italy. Gavrieli and Gabriele mean Gabriel. Lyle Cohen is an agent of the Massimo family of Rome. So, any young fleabags out there that you're into your gangster rap, which has been used to take you off out your system, to become homosexual, to treat women like bitches, but mainly to be homosexual, that's what it's all about. And Islam has a major play in that, which I investigated on the report that I put up on my website, which I'll put up for you. You can have a look at under this video. So, chaps and chapesses, unless you want to look at some, we'll have a look at what you're saying. We can have a look at a few more little vids, actually, because we're at 40. Most of it is not all directly related to bloodlines and type, obviously for breeding purposes. Are these elite part of the 300? Yeah, there's only one designate of each family that raises itself to the top of a nation to take control. So what we don't see in this shindig is the Chinese guys. We're not seeing the Japanese versions, the Indians, the Russians, yeah, the Swedes, the Norwegians. Yeah, we're not seeing them in this. But rest assured, one representative from the elitist family in each nation that runs the commerce has the seat on the Committee of 300. It's not just for anybody. I mean, Bill Clinton, that's what he wanted from the get-go. And that's what he had to do to get his seat. Murder Yugoslavia, among many other things. But that image at the beginning looked like Hitler to me. Now, we're not going to make a fuss about it, but that did look like Adolf Hitler. Let's have a look. A lot of name changes, various over time, still the same plot though. Exactly, the great work of the ages. Ulick MCG. I'm trying to work out, is that rude? MCG. No. Did we get one, Paddy? Fitzgerald. The Papal C. But it's not the A, it's the double E. Simmons, I wonder, is he a relative of Gene Simmons? Well, you'll find when you get into this entertainment gig, they're all interrelated. Most of them are coming from intelligence families. So, it wouldn't be surprising. Let's put it that way. One big effing club, yeah? And we're not in it, as one old comedian used to say. The movie Gangs of New York told us more than we really knew. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've only ever seen it once, and I was very late to see it, but yeah, brutal. I've got the biggest fist. And is it any different today? No. Because that's for fear game, isn't it? Everybody has to be kept in fear. And this is another thing that you need to work out a lot. The world of Underworld isn't as violent as you've been led to believe. You watch the films, this is how it works. So when they have their number one in whatever town you've got going, he already takes that position that's already been created and set. And the gangster movies are there to scare you. Yeah? So that you think that's what they're going to do to you. That's all the films are about. They're just there to scare you enough to not tangle with anybody that you believe is a gangster. The lap dance clubs are not there really for lap dancing. They're there for the boys to go discuss business because nobody's looking at them. Everybody's looking at the tits and the ass. You know, this is how it works. It's a good system. If you need a system, it's very well set up, very well organised, but it's not what it was. It's not what it was. Now it's all run by Intel because everybody in there is Intel. Your number ones are Intel. Your number twos are more than likely Intel. You don't get them positions unless you spilling the beans, which means that you're working for them, not anybody else. It's and that I've seen happen through the 90s. I've seen it how it works. Hell's Angels all been taken over. Back in the 80s, this was going on where the Masonic were taking it over by putting leaders in. This is how it works, and these leaders are usually guys that are SAS, things like that. You know, they can do tough, look after themselves. And they know that they've got a license to kill, and they can pretty much do whatever they want because there's not going to be no comeback. So you can act tougher than you are, can't you, when you're in that position? This is how it's gone on. That's what I witnessed in the late 80s and through the 90s of how it were all going on in that background scene. And, you know, they got so many informants because of the heavy jail sentences on being caught with drugs early on. It were frightening. Because these guys were on the ball, these coppers. They knew. Everybody went to, for a start, everybody went to petrol stations to pick them up. Well, petrol stations have been cameraed before anything else, haven't they? So it were well controlled, let's put it that way. Where are we? Foreigners, Borgia, Kelowna, Shigi, Conti, yep. But it's worth watching a video of John Coleman, Committee 300, because he comes out with some names and it's like, what? It took me yonks to keep going back to him to try and hear what he was saying, to write him down. And then I used to search and I couldn't find him. Because you can't hear what he's saying. These are names you've never heard of. Nobody's ever heard of them, until he put them out. So, well, of course, I said no, but it was London-based Motown record producer. He tried to get me to be his girlfriend. With a catch, he asked me if I delivered drugs to all his friends. Yeah. I mean, the music industry itself, it's just, you know, the fantasy they pretend and give you on X Factor and New Faces and all this malarkey that they used to do in the 70s. It's just a cover for what it really is. It's all about control. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If one of your members of that band isn't tied to MI6 one way or another, or to a secret society, your band's going nowhere. It's going nowhere. They can't afford to have people, creative people, out there on their own doing it. It wakes people up. You know what I mean? And it's so controlled you wouldn't believe it. But I had my opportunity. Because obviously that was the path I was supposed to be heading off into. But I'd seen through the game. I'd seen it. Can't live in fear over mass problem. Well, that's very true. It's a bit naive in those who quit. This is Treen. To live in fear is not to live. Oh, that's very, very true. Untitled. Hello there, Untitled. They've missed it all. Unless I have a sneaky suspicion. Anyway, never mind. Well, I've pretty much. Oh, I did say we could if you want. Are you still want more? Because there's a few more of these little gigs that we can have a look at, actually. Let's have a look here. Let me see. We've done Bank Access, haven't we? We've done Prince Philip. We've done the Pressing the Whites. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That might want to watch that again. It's quite good. Oh, this is the State of the Nation US. I forgot what exactly in it. Oh my God. No, you're not going to believe this.
And I'm non-binary. My pronouns are she, they. And I'm queer. And this is me officially coming out. Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my fucking God. What kind of mother and dad did you have? Jeez.
It's feeling really good.
Does it? God. God, you mean you've done all that because you can't get a boyfriend, love? You're ugly as sin. Anyway, that's enough of that. What have we done? What have we done to breed these fruit bats? I mean, wow. Wow. Can you imagine if that were one of yours? It's just... Now then, this is one I wanted to cover, actually. Because it's very important, because we've discussed, haven't we, that we know these immigrants are soldiers. Now they want to put them right where they belong, in the barracks. It's been going on for a bit.
Fucking civil wars in this country, mark my fucking words. So there's a little village in Lincolnshire where there's an RAF base, a disused RAF base. This village has 700 people in it. And both of the councils for this little area in Lincolnshire have taken the government to court over the use of this RAF base because they want to house 2,000 all-male fighting fit asylum seekers. And of course, the 700 residents and the councils of this village in Lincolnshire have gone absolutely fucking spastic. And they've actually taken the government to court because they think it's unlawful. Now, well, yesterday the court announced in the government's favour and told Lincolnshire councils to basically go fuck themselves. These asylum seekers are coming to live in that RAF base. So how would you feel if your population was being outnumbered 3 to 1 by asylum seekers? So how would you feel if you knew that your local population was going to be outnumbered 3 to 1 by fighting fit, all-male asylum seekers? I think...
It's not clever, that, is it? But we know they're soldiers, and obviously they're going to feel at home if they can get them down in to actual barracks. Perfect, isn't it? Perfect. We've got to keep an eye on that AI thing. You need to absorb that AI, floating AI with its own jurisdiction, sovereignty, troops, everything. Because they're going to be controlling these guys. I mean, what has happened to our established higher people who are so-called? What a fucking mess. They are the dumbest. They're the dumbest that we've ever known. I've never known dumb like it. This is why I can't do local politics. It's like walking into play school. Australia.
Like our COVID online team, we do investigate and monitor people who demonstrate and we know show concerning behaviour. If there's anybody out there that knows of someone that might be showing concerning behaviour around conspiracy theories, anti-government, anti-police, conspiracy theories around COVID-19 vaccination, as what we're seeing with the train family, we'd want to know that. We want to know about that. And you can either contact police directly or go through Crime Stoppers. But we are certainly not classing it as a domestic terror event. At this point, there's nothing really to indicate that. What we can see is sentiment displayed by the 3 individuals, the 3 train family members, that appears anti-government, anti-police, conspiracy theorist type things. In all of the social media postings, we'll be looking at who are the other people posting material, who are the people that own those sites, where are they located, and then we'll go inspect them.
Oh, I've actually just noticed this. This was it's an edited video from December 2022. Oh, okay, fair dues. But this is the thing that they've just done in Ireland, isn't it? You can see that they're pushing it now on the weakest, where they think they can get away with it. Now, you've got to listen to... No, I'll leave that for next time because we don't want to open... We don't even need to get into that on there. What have we got here? No, I think we can leave that. We can say... I think we're done. I think we're done today. That'll do us. Well, there you go. So there were plenty of stuff to go on there, isn't there? There's plenty to chew on, plenty to look at if you're interested. Can you interact with chat more, please? Well, I do usually, but there's not that much going on tonight. You seem to be listening. You seem to be listening, but we do actually. Well, let's have a look if we've got something going on. Lewis says, is Flat Earth a psyop or worth looking into? I mean, look, just on your own instinct, it's got to be flat on it. It's got to be flat, let's be fair. I think that it's a psyop the way it's been done, And a lot of the spin-offs that have come from it, like Toy Story and all this malarkey. So I think it is a psyop, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the Earth isn't flat. It's just that it was such a big shock to people in 2014 when they released it. It picked up everybody that were dealing in law, and then it went from everybody at it to nobody at it. Because they were all on this flat Earth thing, and then they all started creeping back a year or so later going, oh, you're not going to believe this, quite like secret society stuff. It's flat, man, look, we're going to get into it. And it was like, oh, God. So it's worth looking into because there's a lot of data in there, but you've got to make your own mind up as to what you actually think about it. Use your own discernment. What feels right to you. And if you're left thinking you don't know, or you know that you don't know, then pursue it further because it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting data on that journey of looking into it. I'll tell you that now. It was only 90. Oh, so living fear is not living at all. Yep. Right, carry on. We live in house 60. Okay, have you answered my previous question, please? Lewis Dunkley. What's your previous question, lad? Is that the flat earth? Yeah. Oh, you had it. That guy said I could not say no. But you did though, Tree, didn't you? Look? There you go. Who the F is that? Stream. Ulick McGee, have you ever done a dive on Paul Hewson, Bono, and his lineage? I actually haven't, no. I haven't. No. You don't really need to look any further than his face and his actions, do you? I mean, I'll tell you, I loved U2 when they come out. The music was fantastic. Just perfect for its time. It wasn't Simple Minds, you know what I mean? And it wasn't others. It was just that little bit different and it had that Irish twang to it. But then, and Joshua Tree album, I were listening to that in Barracks. That's the time. So I joined Red Machine then, and I were listening to Aha and Joshua Tree. They were the tunes. So you've got all the squaddies all over Aldershot. Because Northern Ireland were big then, so it was a big thing. But everybody's playing fucking Joshua Tree at the billets, and you're supposed to get Irish back then. It was quite comical. That's all I said. But then I read that they nicked the Joshua Tree in its entirety off a guy who sent it to him in the hope that they'd give him. They'd say like but no, they nicked it. Like most of them do. Most of these big artists have actually nicked their best work, or had it written for them. There's very few artists that can actually keep pumping it out. Like Michael Jackson would one, Prince would one, but then we don't even know that, do we really? But I think Prince was just a genius. So was Michael Jackson, in my opinion. Regardless of what people think of him as an artist, the guy was just the rhythm, he was the groove, man. And Prince was just an amazing musician. You just touch something and it'd sing to you. But I think most of the others, like Beatles and that, their stuff were all written for him. Paul McCartney apparently died in 1966 and was replaced by this fruit bat, which they then started to tell you all in their artwork. But George Harrison when he got stabbed, do you remember when he got stabbed 40 times, were it in his house? So I picked up a video he'd made while he was in hospital, because he thought they were going to finish him off. Yeah, because him and Ringo had decided to tell people that Paul were dead. And Ringo had done it. George had been doing it, obviously, for a while, quietly. And so they got him off. They tried to knock him off. So when he was in hospital, he made a couple of audio recordings. I couldn't believe what I were hearing. But he made it all the way. And he said, I'm saying this now because he said, I don't think I'm going to get past this. And this is what they're trying to kill me for. But yeah, I mean, it's, but then you go Miles Mathis. He's got a thesis, a paper showing, presenting evidence, or what his take on the fact that he thinks John Lennon faked his death. And that they were building a film about him a couple of years ago, and it were almost finished. And that when he looked at the profile, the guy's face who were playing John Lennon, it was John Lennon, he said, obviously aged. But like JFK, he's also done a paper on there, JFK Fates. I don't know these things, but when you look at the families that we've just looked at there, they're not brought up like us. We are as foreign to them as a black African is 300, 400 years ago to Blighty kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? That's probably come out wrong, please don't take that wrong way, but I'm just trying to point out, the way we think is so foreign to how they've been taught to think. We're completely different breeds of people. And of course, as I've been doing this, I'm learning there. Because you can't not do. If you want to learn the system that's governing you, you're learning their mindset, how they think, and they create these systems. So you're starting to see like them, you think like them, you know exactly where they're at. You're educating yourself in the same manner that they've had. You're just not, if you're smart, joining it. You're not becoming it. You're not going to besmirch your own soul to follow this garbage. You know what I'm saying? You just... No, and I saw, it was a sad thing. It was traumatic when I knew I couldn't follow it through and become a kick-ass rock and fucking roll star. And that would have been fun. I'll tell you what, it would have been an interesting 90s, and up to now 2000s, you might have been up there giving it large. It would have been fun. And I certainly would have enjoyed myself, I can tell you that now. Who's that? Lewis. Exactly not good. Ooh. What do you think about Alex Jones being let back onto Twitter? He's been banned, I feel like it's happened for a reason. Well, I don't really care. I got thrown off Alex. I mean, if anybody's got a gripe with Alex Jones, it's me. He kicked me off back in about 2007. You know, I had a massive amount of Americans used to love me. It was great. I had a good, massive American audience back then. I were talking to people that were in Hollywood. I was talking to people that were investigating the occult side of Hollywood back then. I mean, it's pretty well known now, but back then it weren't. To me, especially, it was completely brand new. They like my occult give on Wizard of Oz. Because that people kept banding in the debate back then, but nobody really had a good, clear picture about it. And I was giving them a clear picture. I was saying, well, this is what it means to me. And they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you've got it all everywhere today. But I had a big American following. In fact, far more than here. People thought I was tapped here. There were Europe, we had some there, Oz, but mainly it were America. And Alex Jones kicked that in. By kicking me off all this stuff because I were attracting everybody, all these little followers, and he didn't like it. But even that, I don't really hold it against him, because at the end of the day, if you watch like Alex Jones, you're going to get 20%, 80% of truth and fact that you can take away and deal with yourself. Just be aware that they're shilling. They're not. They want you to miss something. They want you to see something over here. Just enough in time. So like you say, an action's going on here. If they can divert you over there, then the action's done. Then they pull you back. So if they're talking about something for a while, then all of a sudden they stop, it's probably going on. You're not thinking about it. When it's done, back. Oh, that's how they play. That's their game. So I'm not surprised he's back on Twitter. But he does have a massive following, the guy. The guy's been going at it for a long time. And when he first began, it were William Cooper that let us all know who we were. And said they were going to kick his ass. He said, don't mess with me, sunshine, I will kick your ass. Because William Cooper were an old school military naval intelligence guy. And so I believe he would have been able to carry out what he was telling Alex Jones he was going to do. But ultimately, does it matter that Alex Jones... I mean, to be fair, I don't like anybody being banned, because everybody has a right to their opinion, and we all have a right to believe it or not. If you're going to get offended at other people's opinion, then you need to start from scratch. You're still an infant. You're a child. You know what I'm saying? If people can upset you by words, you know, or deeds that don't physically harm you, as it were, this life's going to be difficult. And it ain't going to get any easier until you attack that. Because until you get that correct, you're always going to be thrust around by things that are happening to you from the outside. And that's the journey of gaining control of yourself, your parts. Riding the chariot instead of the chariot having you whizzing off all over the fucking shop. On this emotion, on that emotion, this thought, that thought, this belief, that belief. I owe this, I owe... No, you don't owe anything. Well, you know what I'm saying? In that sense. Unless you borrow some off somebody. Of course, that's different, but There's a guy on YouTube called Divergent. He shows plenty of evidence. He's bloody sarcastic though. About what? I always go back to the quote Pike whenever the people need hero. Yeah, exactly. Already heard that on anyone who doesn't go along with the BS. Yeah, they are. They're moving it all over the shop now. I've been having some serious problems with my phones. Well, one phone, yeah, for a while. Argentinian Prime Minister seems like he is a complete fruitcake, isn't it, that one? But they've took it down, but you should have heard him. You've never heard that like it. You'd have thought he was somebody in a pub. Effing this and effing that, we'll murder this and kill that. That's this guy that's the president. So, you get what you deserve, don't you, at the end of the day, with the flag at the heart of that propaganda. Lewis says, the Argentinian Prime Minister seems on as well. As Weft ties, he's on the website and also got the thing, image online of him in kippa and Torah in hand, also supporting Ukraine. But there's a lot of people out there doing that, aren't they? And not necessarily because they think they're bad, not because they believe they're bad, but it's ignorance that's running riot at the moment. Ignorance of everything. People are running around on the maps or beliefs, and that map has no relevance to the territory at all, apart from it's copying other people that have copied the same. You've got to think for yourself. You've got to be yourself. Phil Lynott too, back in the day, yeah, he was being handled by the drummer of Thin Lizzy. I had a good chat with him. He was a gin and bitter lemon drinker. Like myself, I believe he was bumped off. Yeah, and because he retired into Quality Street in Manchester, which, if you don't know, is the old school Manchester gang, the Supreme Gang guys. So yeah, I think it was a pub, wasn't he? His mother had the pub where they all went, all the boys, as it were. I mean, I've met quite a few guys from that mix as well, back in the day. It's always interesting to know these people. It is indeed. But yeah, biggest tell is Alex alive, William isn't. Well, that's just the way it goes, isn't it, I suppose. But you can't lose anything. And Joe Rogan, even I watch some of his stuff when it comes up, because he's putting out some good stuff. And like any of us, really, if you choose you don't want to talk about something, you don't talk about it. Don't mean you're a shill. But they are, because they're getting loads of money, they're getting loads of everything. You know, that's the telltale, really, for these guys. Because they're not doing anything different than a lot of us are doing. Maybe studio's a bit better quality. The mics are making the voice sound a lot lower. It's a lot more, you know, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'd love to get all gear, you know, mic and everything, and a nice background and shit. It'd be nice, and I could improve on what I'm doing, and if it helps people that way because they're picking up better, fine, albeit I don't mind doing it. But I just never have the cash for anything like that. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. When you're not chilling, you don't have fuck all. Biggest tell is that, yeah. Right, chaps, with that, I'm going to say it's time for me to go and have a fag and a pee and my cake that I've saved. Alex, like you said, is around 20% truth, 84. Yeah, they have to do the filler, otherwise you wouldn't. There's nothing there to grab you. And, you know, you're so enamoured by that, you're missing what they want you to miss. Until you don't. So it's all about self-education. Educate yourself to the way they play, the way the game works. And as we've been seeing over the last few years, it's down to understanding the words, the language, because we don't. They have different meanings and we don't know about it until you start to study it. And that, for me, has changed so many things. It's unbelievable. Charlie Ward is more than just a creep geezer. Charlie Ward is a dangerous fella. I mean, a very dangerous fella. You want to keep away from him. Very, very dangerous. A lot of them are. Peter of England, another. I mean, if you're following his word verbatim, you're missing everything. But it's down to yourself, because we've looked at that check. And that check, we've tried to back engineer his check. We've done it. We understand what he's doing. But if you're verbatim copying it, you've missed everything, because there's just mistakes on there. Big, big fucking mistakes. And the way he's telling you it works, again, is normal. This is why I keep saying it's so important that you understand these concepts yourself if you want somebody like me to help you. Otherwise, it won't work. You've got to have a grasp of the concept. Otherwise, you're not seeing the concept. They'll trip you up. But this Peter England, you really want to don't. If you spent money with that guy, you're a fool. Don't send him anymore. Now he's after your national insurance account. Again, I believe. You know, you've got to take responsibility. You made a cock up, you fucked it up, you believed it. Take it on the chin. These people are just doing what they do. It's not their fault if you suck into it, is it? Let's be honest. Not that I'm saying that's an excuse to be a twat, but you know what I'm saying. Bet you wake in the middle of the night, eat cake. Never. Once I lock out, that's it. No, unless I need a pee. If I drink a lot of water in the day, because remember, in the day, your body stores water at the top of your legs. That's what it does for everybody. Alright, it's a fail-safe. Now, when you go to bed, you've got a little bit more water in them legs. When you start lying down, the water's going on an angle like that. It has to not go in your lungs, so your body puts it straight into your bladder. That's why you're pissing at night. It's got nothing to do with all the illnesses they say you've got. The prostate has an effect as well, because as it expands, it squeezes on the tube. But that's about it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will say to you all, have a good week. Thanks for joining. Thanks for taking part. Mods, thank you very much. And I will say, until the next time.
electronic